What is Python?
Python is an interpreted, object-oriented, high-level programming language with dynamic semantics. It's high-level built-in data structures combined with dynamic typing and dynamic binding. Make it very attractive for rapid application development as well as for use as a scripting or glue language to connect existing components together.
Python simple, easy to learn syntax, components together. It emphasizes readability and therefore reduces the cost of program maintenance. Python supports modules and packages, which encourages program modularity and code reuse. The Python interpreter and the extensive standard library are available in source of binary, without charge of all major platforms, and can be freely distributed. Why use Python?
Python expansive library of open source data analysis tools, web frameworks, and testing instruments make it ecosystem one of the largest out of any programming community.
Python is an accessible language for new programmers because the community provides many introductory resources. The language is also widely taught in universities and used for working with beginner-friendly devices such as the Raspberry Pi. Installation for Python version. We recommend using the latest version of Python 3. Flask supports Python 3.3 and the newer Python 2.6. Dependencies. These distributions will be installed automatically when installing Flask. Worksoup implements WSGI, the standard Python interface between applications and servers. Jinja is a template language that renders the pages your application serves. Markup space comes with Jinja. It escapes untrusted input when rendering templates to avoid injection attacks. It's dangerous. Securely signs data to ensure its integrity. This is used to protect Flask session cookie. Click is a framework for writing command line applications. It provides the Flask command and allows adding custom management commands. Optional dependencies. This distribution will not be installed automatically. Flask will detect and use them if you install them. Linker provides support for signals. Simple JSON is a fast JSON implementation that is compatible with Python's JSON. It is preferred for JSON operations if it's installed. Python Python.10v enables support for loading environment variables from env files when running Flask commands. What is Flask? Flask is a lightweight web development microframework for Python and based on Worksoup, WSGI toolkit, and Jinja 2 template engine. What does micro mean? Micro simply means that Flask is small. It doesn't come with a particular set of tools or libraries that other popular Python frameworks like Django and Pyramid provide. Flask is designed with extensibility in mind. It only provides a core set of features and relies on extensions to do the rest. Right out of the box, Flask doesn't provide any support for accessing the database, from validation, authentication, file uploads, and so on. To add these functions to your application, you have to use extensions because you can choose the extensions you want. You end up with lean stock without any extra craft. Flask is also less rigid about how you should structure your application the way you want. What is WorkZoog? WorkZoog is a WSGI utility library for Python. It is simple to use yet one of the most advanced and powerful WSGI utility modules. Also receives requests from client, passes it to application, and sends the response provided by application back to the client. Features of WorkZoog. It includes a powerful and interactive JavaScript based in browser debugger. It has fully features request and response objects. It has HTTP utilities to handle entity tags, cache control headers, HTTP cookie handling, file uploads, and a powerful routing system. Provides Unicode support. It supports Python 2.6 and a higher values. WorkZoog is a base of frameworks like Flask and other frameworks developed for commercial websites and products. What is Jinja 2? Jinja 2 is fully featured, simple to use template engine for Python. Wide range of features of Jinja 2 includes sandbox execution mode, powerful automatic HTML escaping system for cross-site scripting prevention, template inheritance, which makes it possible to use similar layout for all template, easy to debug with debugging system that integrates compile and runtime errors into standard Python traceback system, optional ahead of the template compilation and configure syntax. What is history in Flask Python? In 2004, POCO was formed as an international group of Python enthusiasts. Flask was created by Armin Renatcher of POCO. It came out of an April Fool's joke but proved popular enough to make into a serious application in its own right. Despite the lack of a major release, Flask has become extremely popular among Python enthusiasts. As mid-2016, it was the most popular Python web development framework on GitHub. What is interesting in Flask features? It contains development server and debugger. It has integrated support for unit testing. It uses Jinja 2 template engine, RESTful request dispatching. It includes support for cookies, client-side session, 100% WSGI compliant, Unicode-based, Google App Engine compatible. Extensions are available to add in ORM for validation, file uploading, and to enhance desired features. Flask is extensible and keeps the core simple. Why? Because it has Flask admin, Flask catch, Flask open ID, Flask mail, Flask Mongo alchemy, Flask restless, Flask SQL alchemy, Flask testing, Flask WPF, Flask uploads, and also Flask is open source, means it's free for everyone. These are the advantages of Flask. Flask, based on the concept of minimalism, it comes with a browser-based debugger, no ORM in the delivery like Piwi, SQL Alchemy, etc. can be connected. How to setting up Flask? Setting up Flask is pretty simple and quick. All we need to do is install pip install Flask. Once you're done with installing Flask, create a folder called Flask app. Navigate to the Flask app folder and create a file called app.py. Import the Flask module and create an app using Flask shown. Now, define the basic root and its corresponding request handler. Next, check the executed file is the main program and then run the app. And then save the changes and execute app.py or python app.py. Point your browser to http localhost.5000 and you should have the hello world. This is pretty straightforward example because the API is very clean and easy to understand. For these reasons, I think Flask excels for small projects but also for large ones. The double-edged sword of Flask is an opinionated nature. For beginners, this presents a relatively small surface area that they need to learn.
What is Django? At its core, Django is a high-level MVC-style open-source collection of libraries that written in Python, and one of the most popular server-side web frameworks out there. And its motto is don't repeat yourself. Like in Python, it emphasizes efficiency, allowing you to do as much as possible with a little coding as possible. On top of that, Django is also fast, scalable, and mature, with a huge developer community and a robust set of built-in components on the data side. Django can read or generate XML or JSON data instances and work out of the box with relational database management systems like PostgreSQL, MySQL, SQLite, and Oracle. When it comes time to deploy, Django is fully supported by the cloud platforms Heroku and AWS Elastic Beanstalk. What is the history of Django? Django was created in the fall of 2003 when the web programmers at the Lawrence Journal World newspaper, Adrian Holivati and Simon Millison was begun using Python to build applications. It was released publicly under a BSD license in July 2005. The framework was named after guitarist Django Reinhardt. In July 2008, it was announced that the newly formed Django Software Foundation, or DSF, would maintain Django in the future. What are the major features of Django? Django is a free, rich in API or application programming interface. Django has automatic database table creation, and also Django is a dynamic admin interface generator and syndication feed framework. Django is a powerful cache framework for dynamic websites and powerful built-in template system. And also, Django is easy in database migrations, security features, and other helpful add-ons. What are the advantages of Django? Django thumbs up in rigid application structure, several batteries, highly functional admin panel, already massive and still growing community, many third-party applications, and last, it is extensive and highly value-adding document. These are the disadvantages of Django. It is all it needs to maintain backwards compatibility, so it evolves slowly. Its substantiating language is severely and differently handicapped. It goes to great lengths to prevent you, the developer, from putting logic in a template. It even forbids you from calling a Python function from the template. Then, in order to remedy this, it allows you to implement a filter, which is nothing more than a way to call a function. What could be more retarded? The syntax of this temptating language is also too verbose. On the plus side, many people use Jinja 2 instead, which has the same bad syntax but lets you call functions and work very well. People are impressed by the admin, but it isn't important at all for development. Other frameworks, being less tightly integrated, cannot offer an admin that would work for everybody. Again, this is of no consequence for real-world development. Its ORM, created before SQL Alchemy existed, is now much inferior to SQL Alchemy. It is less flexible, its API is less well thought out, and it's based on the active record pattern, which is worse than the unit of work pattern adopted by SQL Alchemy. This means in Django, models can save themselves and transactions are off by default. They are an afterthought in SQL Alchemy. One thinks in transactional terms from the start. This talk explains this better. Models relationship have one delete cascade by default, which is poor choice because it is not saved. One might lose database of this. Because of this, the default should be saved and the programmer would declare the cascade when applicable to avoid cascading. Ones need to write on delete equals models that protect in each foreign key. Models can have no mixins, only simple inheritance, less powerful than SQL Alchemy. Many projects don't access a database, but there is no way to turn off the URL. You even have to configure it. Django enthusiasts sometimes boast the Django is a single package, don't realize this is actually a bad thing. Django is a tangled monolithic piece of software. The fewer dependencies you have, the more code you have to write yourself. Django in the fact is a bad or of not invented here syndrome. Django by itself does not encourage anyone to learn and use standard Python packaging tools. Django solved the problem of root definition by using regular expressions. Now they have two problems. This is Jurassic next to the sophisticated dispatch and pyramid. Class-based views. Django devs here really shot themselves in the foot here. Soon, they are going to be very sorry. Why? Well, please read Pylon's creator Ben Bargat's blog post titled Why Extending Through Subclassing a Framework Classes is a Bad Idea. Looks like Django devs weren't paying attention to Pylon's mistakes when they came up with their own class-based views. They are extended through inheritance, which will make everyone's lives complicated in subsequent versions. Looks like Django devs were paying attention to Pylon's mistakes when they came up with their own class-based views. These are extended through inheritance, which will make everyone's life complicated in subsequent versions. No separation between the framework's API and implementation has been indicated. Class-based views again. For a different reason, if you ever want to subclass one of them to change their behaviors slightly, you will be in the pain. This because they themselves are deep hierarchy of subclasses, too deep. So you read about 10 classes trying to figure out where you should interfere. This is such a big problem for every Django user who like class-based views. Then an entire website was created to help understand them in HTTP colon double dash ccv.co.uk, the ever existence of which should be seen as a red flag. How to use Django. Django is for creating web applications that is software, normally backed by a database that includes some kinds of interactivity that operates through a browser. A framework provides a structure and common methods for making this kind of software. Django can be used to create dynamic high-security web applications. Who uses Django? Thousands of websites are currently using Django, from daily newspapers to social media and sharing sites to major foundations and nonprofits. Since Django was originally developed for use in the newsroom, it's no surprise that major daily publications like the Washington Post and the Guardian rely on it. Startups like Eventbrite and Discuss have relied on Django to scale quickly, while social media behemoths like Instagram and Pinterest have used it to power their dynamic web apps.
What are the limitations of using Python Flask for web development? Thus, a microweb framework WF does not mean it lacks in powers when compared with other frameworks, example Django. Microwave framework simply means it allows the user to get started with the development with the minimum restrictions which a developer has to follow, which make user comfortable to learn the stuff easily and gain confidence. To build a basic server, you just have to write some of 7 lines of code. Flask is flexible enough to allow developer to follow his institution. Developer can go with his choices. Flask comes with a lot of extensions. Example, flask.poco.org/extensions, which you can use to move faster in the development.
These are the top 10 sites that built in Django framework. The first one is the Discuss, second is the Bitbucket, third is the Instagram, fourth is the Mozilla Firefox, fifth is the Pinterest, sixth is the NASA, which is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. In seven, it is the Onion, eight is the Mahalo, nine is the Washington Post, and the last is the Eventbrite.
What are the differences between Flask and Django? Flask provides simplicity, flexibility, and fine-grained control. It lets you decide how you want to implement things.
While Django provides an all-inclusive experience, you get an admin panel, database interfaces, an ORM or Object Relational Mapper, and directory structure for your apps and projects out of the box.
But if you're using Flask, you need to focus on the experience and learning opportunities. Or if you want more control about which components to use, such as what databases you want to use and how you want to interact with them.
But if you're using Django, you need to focus on the final product, especially if you're working on a straightforward application such as a new site or an e-store or blog, and you want there to always to be a single, obvious way of doing things. Which is better, Django or Flask? They both serve different purposes. There is no better or best. Django is the fully featured framework with batteries included, and it has a great plugin support.
Well, Flask is the DIY framework which through plugins can do the same as Django and has no batteries included.
There is no best. The only best is the thing that works for you and your project.
If you just need a simple edit page or order form, you might want to look at the Flask.
If you do not want to get your hands dirty and mind some overhead for that project, Django might be the way. It depends to you which one feels more comfortable with your project.
What will you choose, Flask or Django? While it's easy to talk about what each framework does and doesn't do, let's try and make a more direct comparison of each, which we'll do in this section. When simplicity is a factor, Flask is the way to go. It allows much more control over your app and lets you decide how you want to implement things. In contrast, Django provides a more inclusive experience, such as providing a default admin panel for your data, an ORM on top of your database, and protection against things like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, CSRF, etc. If you put a lot of emphasis on community support, then Django is probably better. In this regard, given history, it has been around since 2005, whereas Flask was created in 2010. At the time of writing the article, Django has 3.5 times more questions or answers than, than Flask. The Flask framework is relatively lightweight. In fact, it's almost 2.5 times smaller than Django in terms of amount of code. That's a big difference, especially if you need to understand the inner workings of your web framework. In this aspect, Flask will be much easier to read and understand for most developers. Flask should be selected for development if you need complete control over your app, which ORM you want to use, which database you need to integrate, with excellent opportunities to learn more about web services. Django, on the other hand, is better when there is a more clear path to creating what you want, or you're creating something that has been done before. For example, a blog would be a good use case for Django.